No.
They told her it couldn't be done.
Nobody told me it couldn't be done.
Oh, I like it.
Nobody can ever tell me it can't be done.
Branded Hustle Podcast right there.
Welcome to the Branded Hustle Podcast. I'm Darryl, and I'm here to get your sales game tight.
And I'm Lori, and I'm here to get your brand looking right.
Let's get to hustling.
Welcome back to
Hello.
the Branded Hustle Podcast.
Yes, sir.
So glad that you can join us. We are super excited to have you.
Yeah.
And today we got a wonderful episode.
I am super excited for this episode.
It's going to be lit.
Oh my gosh, you did not.
What's some more words I can say?
How about inspirational?
Okay, that's cool too.
You're 31 years old. Okay.
I am. Okay, this episode
Yeah?
is called How to Find Your Passion.
Yes, sir.
So we got a great one for you. Can't wait to walk you through what our thoughts are in this one. Let's kick it off.
All right.
So, first question for you is, how do I know that this one thing here is a passion of mine?
I honestly feel like passion goes in every direction, like the same passion. So, follow me here. The same way I feel about like love, like with you.
Right.
I remember when I first started doing like brand and marketing stuff, I felt that same like, excitement.
Right.
You know, like when you're passionate about someone, it's the same, almost the same feeling of like being passionate about sports or being passionate about piano or marketing or your job or whatever it is.
Right.
You know, I feel like you need to have that like that sense of like it's hard to explain in words other than being like, like I love this. You know, like that love for what you're doing.
Right.
And you'll know if it's a passion. Like if you hate going to your job, that's not a passion. You know, it's like it's a feeling. It's more of a feeling than anything you can say in words.
You're right.
You know?
Doesn't it feel like when you're passionate about something,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you have this deep sense of belonging
Yes.
to the culture of that thing, whatever it is?
Explain.
Like, for instance,
Yeah.
if I'm a big, like, film person,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't mean, you could mean, like, just watching the film, but I mean, like, in this case, like, creating the film.
Mm-hmm.
That's your real passion. You care about the camera.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
For sure.
You care about the editing software. You care about the angles, the aperture, the
and
lighting, all that stuff, right? That's like, so you feel like you belong to that group of people who care about that stuff too. And it, like, that, and you all share the same
like a sense
passion.
of camaraderie.
Sense of camaraderie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like that's how you know that's your thing, because you feel like you belong to this circle of people that are about this one deal.
Yeah. You almost feel like
you identify with it.
Like drawn to it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it could be anything. It could be like painting, maybe like watercolors. Like,
yeah.
if it's about watercolors, and you are about it.
It's true,
right?
though. Yeah.
That's how you know. Like, but if you don't feel that connection to the thing, then that's not it for you. That's not your passion.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you'll know. Like, you'll feel it.
Yeah.
Like, love, it's the same thing with love. Like, you know right away if that's, like, you feel a connection to that person.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just like, it can grow. It's like,
right.
It can grow, yeah, but is it really passion?
You know what? I think this would be a good example for people. We're talking about love, and, you know, imprinting is a thing.
Yeah.
We just watched Twilight not so long ago. It reminded me of this. When Jacob imprints on the baby, right?
Yeah, that was weird.
That was weird, but check it out, though. Like, you're going to have an imprint moment on whatever your passion is when it's real.
Totally.
It'll just hit you. You're like, okay, me and you mean you equally passion? Yes, we're a thing.
Alrighty, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's how we go. So how about this? So we talked about passion, right?
Yeah.
So how do you know when that passion is good enough to pay the bills? Like, should you really focus on this thing? Is it actually going to take care of you, provide for you?
It just depends.
Or is it just like something I'm passionate about, but there's really no way it's ever going to provide?
That depends if you have mommy and daddy's money. Some passions don't pay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Some passions is just because you're passionate.
Right.
But if you have somebody taking care of you, you can continue to do that. You know, this is why a lot of people don't go for their passions. They go for the money.
Yeah.
Which is very sad. Very sad to think about. Of people not really following their dreams. And it kind of goes back to our previous episode about being lazy and unmotivated. Of like, I hope people found themselves during the quarantine, and chose to follow their passions. If that's going to bring more happiness to you, I feel like a lot of people were doing a lot of self-reflection of like, man, I'm going to this job, I don't even like it. Like, maybe I should go and be, I don't know, a poker player.
Yeah.
Or go be an artist of some sort, you know?
Yeah.
Be a filmmaker. Like, you never know, like, what people are passionate about, but, like, you can have, like, a filmmaker be, like, an accountant, and it's like, you watch their portfolio, you're like, man, this guy's really talented, but he's over here being an accountant because he went to school for that, and that's what pays the bills.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a very...
See, I have a different perspective, though.
Okay.
Check this out.
Yeah.
So I feel like that, let's say you're passionate about something that's not going to pay you. Like, okay, I'll give you an example.
Okay.
I watch a lot of basketball on TV, or on YouTube specifically.
Yeah.
Not as professional. I watch, like, anybody play basketball. It doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah,
it's
kind of crazy.
I was like watching basketball. My point is this, though. Like, you would think before, if you're trying to be a basketball player, the only way to get paid is what? Being in the NBA, right? Now it's like, but you can celebritize yourself just playing basketball at a regular old basketball court, right? Mm-hmm. And you get paid off that too, because now, like, you have your channel and you have other ways to make income. So my point is that, like, you may be passionate about something and everybody looks at you and says, okay, there's no way that can make money. But sometimes there's a backwards way of making money, because the first, like, way that's more glorified to make money may not be the path for you, but there's a back door you can take where you can still do your thing. Yeah. And you're making money off of it.
But let's be all the way real, though.
Talk to me.
That right there is such a millennial mindset, which is like, you already know if boomers are watching this, they're like wanting to slap you. Because that is a very millennial mindset to have. A lot of people don't have that. You know what I'm saying?
So respect to the boomers, though, because, but also respect to our generation.
Yeah.
Listen, like, there's going to be some things that millennials are able to do that future generations can do way better, because there's other stuff available.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
no,
okay.
I get that part, but I'm just saying, like.
I know, I understand, but, like, check it out, though. Boomers are born when? 50s, 60s? Yeah. Right? Okay. There's some people born in the Great Depression looking at boomers like, you were spoiled.
Oh, it's always.
I wish I had your opportunity.
It always works that way. It does. It always works that way. But I'm saying, though, like, not everything's going to be about social media, is what I'm saying when it comes to passion. Like, you're saying, you're saying, like, oh, well, just start a YouTube channel. I get that.
I'm saying there's other ways.
What other ways? Tell me.
I just said them.
Other than YouTube, other than social media, what other ways are there? So, like, if a person doesn't want to do social media.
Okay. So, let's say, I'm going to go back to my basketball reference here.
Okay.
Let's say you love basketball, but you're not meant to be in the NBA. Like, you don't have the height, you don't have the speed, you don't have the athleticism. Mm-hmm. Who says you can't still be part of basketball? Maybe you can go be a coach. Maybe you can go work in the one of the front offices at the NBA teams.
Well, yeah, of course.
That's being part of it.
I'm saying, though, like, as far as, like, okay, I see what you're saying, but
there's other ways. That's all I'm saying.
Of course, there are other ways, but you're talking about, the question was, how can I know that my passion will pay the bills?
If you got a passion,
other than basketball, everything's basketball with this guy. Other than basketball, tell me, like, okay, if you're a painter. Or if you're...
But you know, if you're a painter, though, the way for you to do your thing, you're either going to have to sell paintings, like, at an art gallery, mm-hmm. or at some, like, festival, which is not popping right now. Could be popping in the future. Maybe it's popping digitally. Or you got to just, like, get a camera, put it over your shoulder, videotape yourself doing your thing.
Social media.
Social
media is the way, what you're saying.
Look, what are we on right now?
Yeah. What about if you're a philosopher? If you majored in philosophy,
you better get in front of a camera and tell me about the philosophy.
You better put it on YouTube. Okay, so we've come to the conclusion that everything's social media when it comes to Darryl.
It's 2020.
Okay, I know. Don't start bringing my stuff into this. That I started YouTube.
You're the one.
Okay, I like home decor, and I turned it into a YouTube channel. So I literally live the life that you're saying right now.
Okay, prime example right here.
No,
they told her it couldn't be done.
Nobody told me it couldn't be done.
Oh, I like it.
Nobody can ever tell me it can't be done.
Branded Hustle Podcast right there.
I mean, I'm just saying. I was like, what is that, the song? Okay, this leads to our next question.
Yes.
Is there really such a thing as following your heart when it comes to your passion?
You know, I think for the people out there that are very strong-minded, maybe that's a good way to put it, very analytical. That's the best way to put it. I felt they might look at that and be like, follow your heart. What does that mean? Right? I follow directions.
Is that a dig towards me?
I'm not digging towards anybody.
You're saying strong-minded, then you're like analytical, and you call me both those things all the time.
Well, I love you very much. How about that? I'm just saying, for the people that might think that's a little bit crazy, I think that it's not. But let me explain why.
Okay.
Because there comes time in life where...
There's a time in life.
Analytics make sense. They 100% do. But you got to have something called the gut factor.
Animal. I'm just joking. I don't know.
You got to go with your gut.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to be like, okay.
That's a real thing.
I have this passion. Okay. Here's what it is. And, like, is this thing, like, okay, should I actually follow it? Should I not? Like, logically, it may not make sense, but maybe if you do follow it, it does make sense. And there's some things that happen just because you decide to go on that path and you listen and you felt at peace about following your passion, following your heart, that it actually turns out well. And maybe something happens that you never thought would happen. I have a story about that at the very end. You got to stay tuned.
Awesome.
So, what do you think? What do you think about following your heart?
Well, you see, I'm very strong-minded, as we established, according to you.
Correct.
And I am very analytical, according to you.
Also correct.
But I do believe in following your heart. I feel like I let that guide my steps because I feel like God's in my heart.
Yeah.
And I feel like God's guiding my steps.
You got a heart for a reason.
Yeah. I truly feel like that, like, intuition is a real thing.
Yeah.
You'll know this is something you need to do. I go with my heart a lot when it comes to my passions and like what I want to do.
Yeah.
I think it's important. It's what's guiding you, you know?
I think we both agree that your heart is more than just pumping blood through your body.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Like, you feel with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can feel if this is something worth following or not, right?
True.
So the question is, now that you found your passion, what happens when you hit that bump in the road and the passion starts to burn out? What do you do?
That's tough. Because I'm trying to think of, like, my first passion in life was basketball.
Right.
When I realized that I wouldn't be playing basketball anymore, you feel like you have to move on. Of course, I feel like you have that, like grief period of, like, man, like, I can't believe this is in my life. Like, playing basketball is everything. You know, like, you work out in the mornings before school. You work out during school with, like, your athletics period. Then you work out, like, 3-4 hours after school. And that's literally your whole life for me since, like, 8th grade. You know what I'm saying? And you kind of just got to move on, you know? And it kind of goes back to your point about, like, getting paid for your passion. I knew at that point I wasn't going to play basketball. You know, I'm 5'1", you know, I knew I wasn't athletically built to play basketball in college, but I was smart. So then I got into sports writing, you know, and I went to school wanting to do sports writing because I would still think it was still be basketball. So, you know, back to your basketball.
Let's not get off of that for anything.
Yeah.
But, like, you were able to do the sports writing.
Yeah.
Because you already had a passion.
Yeah.
For sports and basketball.
Okay, with the eye roll, we get it, Darryl.
Come on, follow me.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I think about?
What about you?
Your passion burning out?
Yeah.
I feel like you got to question, why is the passion burning out?
Yeah.
You know, what is it? Like, are you just in a season to where things aren't going so well?
Yeah.
Because you really got to question, like, okay, if you're really passionate about this, you obviously have amassed a lot of knowledge, and a lot of skill with it. If you just throw this away, like, you probably are risking some opportunity that you could be seizing. And the thing is, too, you got to be careful with this whole, like, quitting if your passion is dwindling.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how close you are to a breakthrough. You could be so close. You could be, like, one more step away, whatever that step is, to that thing. But you're like, it's not working, or it's slow, it's just as that. Or the thing is, maybe you start feeling sorry for yourself, and you stop looking for ways around the obstacle. Yeah. Because you're trying to go straight through, but you don't know, like, maybe just take a little step to the left, 2 steps forward, and then 1 step over, and then forward. Yeah. And then you're right there. Just what I did was go around it. See what I'm saying? Oh my gosh. So you should go around it. But that's the thing, though. Like, you have to know that. So I would say if the passion is burning low, like, let's get to the heart of it first. Yeah.
Reevaluate
before you decide to move on, because you could have something really valuable there. Because that happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
When I'm doing something and I like something in business or something in life, whatever, and I get frustrated with because I've been like trying to do it and I get frustrated. It's usually like when I get to my lowest point and I'm like this close to being like, to heck with it, I'm done. Something great happens and I'm like, oh, awesome.
And quitting is not something you do here on the Brown Hustle.
No.
That is not something you do. Which leads to my next question about the passion fire going out.
Yeah.
How do you choose between multiple passions? Now, this is one thing I will say.
Yeah.
A lot of people can mistake like passion. This is why we told you, like, if you have that feeling in the beginning that we talked about, that means it's passion. But if you think it's passion but you're not sure, a lot of times people will just call everything passion. Like, oh, that's my passion, that's my passion, that's my passion. And all of a sudden you're stuck with multiple passions. Yeah. And I used to really be like big on that. I used to like love to do a bunch of different things. Like jack of all trades type thing. Right. And then I saw this one saying that said, like, when I heard jack of all trades, I thought that was like a really cool, like, oh, you know. But then I saw, like, I believe it's the full quote. The full quote is jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah. Man, that hit me hard. Because I watched a lot of, this sounds crazy. I watched a lot of Bruce Lee growing up with my dad. So, like, you hear the word mastery a lot in, like, Kung Fu and, like, you know, movies like that. So I was like, I want to be a master. I don't want to be a jack of all trades. That's not really a positive thing to me if you're not master of anything. Right. So when I learned that, I was like, okay, I don't like that. I didn't like quit everything else I was doing, but I decided to be like, okay, what am I going to focus on? What am I really passionate about? Because having multiple passions is fine. Yeah. But if you don't master something first, what's the point in even doing it? Right. That's my mindset. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what do you think about that? How do you choose?
See, mine's like, I agree with you. Uh-huh. I just feel like for some people, you got to take a different approach. I think you got to try stuff out. Okay. And I mean, like, just jump in. Obviously, if you feel like you have to choose, you're kind of involved, but like, jump in a little more and see what's what. Yeah, like, I agree. Like, try the shirt on. And if you look in the mirror, you don't like it, you can always take it off, right? But like, that's what I think.
Yeah. A lot of people aren't blessed to know their passions right away. Right. Like, I was blessed to know, like, basketball is my life when I first saw Michael Jordan play. Yeah. And that was, like, when I was, like, 7, 8 years old. Mm-hmm. So, like, I feel like a lot of people, they go through life, like, not knowing. Like, well, I'm good at this, I'm good at this, I'm good at this, but I don't really feel it. But there's something wrong with trying stuff and just seeing if you're good at it. Yeah. And like you said, like, you're never going to know if you can be passionate about something until you actually do it. Yeah. You know?
And it's funny, too, when you realize that you actually have a passion for it, it kind of creeps up on you. Yeah. It's like, okay, you were doing the thing, whatever it is, and then all of a sudden, you stop for a second, you're like, wait, I actually care about this. Mm-hmm. Like, I care about the outcome. I care about the results of what I'm doing more than I thought I would. And you kind of start to self-identify with whatever it is a little bit. That's what I was saying before. Yeah. Like, whatever you're really passionate about, like, you kind of have a sense of ownership in that culture. Yeah. Like you feel it.
Like a fraternity or sorority. Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true, because when I do find people that are, like, into branding and marketing like me, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And you can talk for days about it, you know? Yeah. So I totally get that.
So I think my point is, it's going to rise up. It's like, you're going to do stuff, it's going to happen, and then all of a sudden, something's going to float to the top, and that's going to be the thing for you. You'll just know when you know. Yeah. And it might be a little frustrating right now to think about when that's going to happen, but, like, just, you got to keep going that direction, keep trying little things out, different things, and then one's going to just pop out, and you're like, okay, that's the one.
And I totally agree with Darryl, what he was saying about, like, not quitting on a passion. Right. Because, like, for instance, with YouTube, you know, like, it took my lovely Texas home forever to really become, like, something. Right. You know? And I started that in 2015? 2015. Right. And it's 5 years later. That's crazy.
14.
2014. Yeah. No. I started 2014, but I really didn't get consistent until 2015. So okay. That's how I look at it.
My badness.
Because I posted, like, maybe 2 or 3 videos in 2014. Yeah. But, like, I really started, like, a routine in 2015, but it still took forever. Yeah. For me to really, like, have, like, substantial growth. I mean, I'm barely at 70,000 followers, but and I've kind of been slacking off since, you know, I got sick or whatever. But my point is,
Understandable.
yeah, I'll be back though.
Yeah.
But this point is like if I would have given up when those days where I was like, oh, this is crazy, because I was uploading like 3 videos a week.
Yeah.
And I could have easily given up, and then I wouldn't have, like, it's brought me so many things to where like I started working with big brands, you know, and that equal to me starting my own company, helping people work with big brands, and it's just like if I would have given up, I wouldn't have any of that right now, and that's crazy to think. So
that's what I'm trying to say.
High five for pushing me.
You can't just quit when stuff gets tough like that. You got to be like, okay, maybe this is my moment.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not feeling like. You're thinking you're feeling some type of stress because things are going your way, but maybe it's like that appropriate amount of pressure. Yeah. That you need to just freaking push through because you're right there.
Diamonds.
Sure does. Yeah. Beautiful diamonds.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
So, next question is, how can I develop a passion for something that I once hated? Oof. But don't answer that because we're going to be right back. You're watching and listening to The Branded Hustle.
Hey guys, this is Darryl checking in. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. This is The Branded Hustle.
All right, guys, welcome back to The Branded Hustle.
Yes.
So we left off on this question. Yes. That seems to be a juicy one.
Woo.
And that is going to be, how can I develop a passion for something I've once hated?
Great question.
I think I know where you're going with this, and I am really looking forward to hearing this. So
yeah?
Go for it.
Okay, great. Well, let me tell you something. So here's my story with sales.
Okay.
At first, yes, I did start like my own lawnmower business back in the day. I was door to door knocking on doors and making sales, right? Mm-hmm. That was as a kid. And that was different because I got to rely on being a kid and being like, hey, work with me.
I'm cute, look at me.
Exactly, and it worked, right? Being an adult and you're trying to now like be in sales and be in business, and it's different. People are like, you ain't cute, right?
You're very cute.
You're very cute.
Okay, sorry, guys.
So my point is this, like, there was a time in my life where I had started, like, B2B sales, and I hated it. I did not like it at first. I liked the possibility it can bring. I liked the opportunity, but I did not actually like being in sales. I didn't like the rejection. Yeah. I didn't like feeling like I was dependent on somebody else saying yes to me so I could live. Like, I hated that, right? But, side note, baby cakes over here, Lori helped me out tremendously with like motivating me and talking to me, right? Yeah. And like giving me all this like positive thoughts every day to go out and like try to get better and try to work on the craft of sales and accomplish it. And through that, what I once hated, what I once thought was like the suckiest job, and I really didn't like it. I really didn't know like what direction my life was going in. I'm like, I don't even like doing what I'm doing, but I feel like I have to because I need a job. And supposedly I can make money in sales. That's what I was thinking. I stopped like all the negative thoughts with a lot of her help. And I got on a positive mindset, and I just learned to actually love sales, which is absolutely crazy. Yeah. So yes, you can take something that you have no passion for and actually turn it into a passion. Yeah. And you didn't even know that you could be passionate about it, but you had to try it out. Yeah. On top of that, you had to go through a little bit of pain to figure out, like, I can do this. And on top of that, when you do that, I think it makes you better. Yep. I think it just, like, brings out the best in you. And you're like, oh, wait, I'm capable of so much more now that I know I can do this one thing. I wonder what else I can do.
Exactly. And going off on that, I remember Darryl and I had a conversation. His only passion when I met him was music. Yeah. Like, that's it. Yeah. And I remember we had a conversation when it was like, okay, well, there's this job. You need to get it so we can move back to Texas. Yeah. And he was just like, I'm not passionate about sales. And I remember I told him, I was like, you don't know if you're passionate yet. He's like, no, I'm not. True. And I was like, you don't know yet. You're taking this job. We're moving back to Texas. We'll figure it out when we get there. And then, like, it was crazy. Because, like, Darryl is a very quiet person. You might not think Darryl's a weird. He's a unique character because he loves being center of attention and like the stage presence type of thing. Like he used to do music, so when I first met him, he was super quiet and mysterious, and I was like, I like that because in college you're used to every guy being like, oh, what's up?
What's up? How you doing?
Yeah, Darryl was not like that. He was super chill. Yeah, and he took me to one of his like concerts.
Yeah.
And he gets on the stage and he's like, "What's up, everybody?" Blah blah blah. And it's like a whole different person. And I was like, "Whoa, what is happening?"
I had to entertain the people.
I know, but it was just weird. So I'm saying a lot of people think you're quiet,
Right.
you know. And when it comes to sales, that's why I knew you could do it, because I knew if you found your like artist, your sales artist,
Yeah.
you would kill it.
Yeah.
So like I remember he would come. We lived in a hotel during this time, which was insane. That's like that could be a whole other podcast talking about like our come up. But he would come home with a binder, like literally this thick.
Yeah.
You guys can't see this on the podcast. It was crazy big. It was how thick do you think it was?
Her thumb and her index finger are far apart.
Yeah.
So it's big.
I'd say it was
It's
like maybe 5 inches.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it was really thick, if not more. And I would make him study every single night with me while we were watching Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
In the hotel room.
Studying the scripts.
Studying
the sales scripts for the job so I could be tight on what to say.
Yeah. Studying the rebuttals, everything.
Yeah.
And I remember telling him, like, you can make this into a passion if you really want to.
Yeah.
And he did. And honestly, sales has been like life-changing in our life.
Oh, gosh.
Like,
yeah.
I don't even know where
100%.
we would be if we hadn't gotten this job.
No.
So, that's...
Literally, I look back to, like, ironically,
Mm-hmm.
I was looking back to, like, where we used to live back in the day before that job came about. And I'm like, whoa. Night and day.
Yeah. If you guys want to see a video, like a podcast on, like, our come up to where we talk to you about how we've moved 20 times in our marriage, give this video a thumbs up or comment down below and let us know, because that could be a whole podcast episode in itself, because we've gone through some.
And let me say something real quick too.
Yeah.
Like when you're looking to find your passion, you might have to do something crazy like that.
Exactly.
Like move a bunch of times.
Yeah.
In order to find it, because it might not be exactly where you are. Now the world's a little bit different. It's all remote, but still you might have to like do something different.
Exactly. And for those that think that we've had it together the whole time we've been married, that's not the case.
Oh no.
Like we have come up is like a whole like
baby steps,
like legit baby steps.
Yeah.
So I mean, you see like the house now and the like our life now, it was not like that to begin with.
No.
So if you guys want to see a video like that or a podcast like that, let us know, because we're definitely down for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question.
Yeah.
How can I pursue a passion without taking on the risk? That's a little tough.
It depends on what it is.
Exactly.
The side hustle. The thing is, let me talk about the side hustle for a second.
Okay.
So, like, I feel like some things totally possible to do side hustle.
Agree.
Like, I'm just naming a few right now. Like, you want to do like a baking business? Perfect. You get off the job, cool. I got a couple hours, bang, 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 done, right? You want to be like a day trader? Cool. Hold up. I'm off work real quick. Side hustle. I just bought some Amazon. Let's do it. What's up? There's some things you can do that work out perfectly for a side hustle.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that are there. So but there's only one bad thing to that. I feel like there's some things that require dedication.
Yeah.
Like they require your full commitment. And there's only so much research. There's only so much like thinking about it that you can do before you got to jump all in. What I think could be cool is that you got that big jump all in idea. It's like, okay, think for a second. Can you pull that off totally by yourself?
Yeah. That's the big question.
If you can do it 100% by yourself, whatever the big idea is, cool, go for it. Because then you can knock it out.
Yeah.
If you think you need at least one person to do it, and that person not like the best friend in the world or something like that, or spouse or whatever, like what I would do is say, hold on to that, go look for the side hustle real quick. Look for something else that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And if you look hard enough, you can find something. Try to make that work first. And then you won't feel like you're taking a big risk because you still got your main thing. You got the side hustle bringing in cash. And then when that side hustle, like the money from that equals your main thing, you're like, dude, I can bounce if I want to. I can keep going, but I can bounce if I want to, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I feel like. I feel like you got to size up the opportunity. Like, is it possible for me to do this on the weekends after work? No problem. Or is this thing too massive?
Yeah.
To where I got to jump in both feet?
I agree.
What's your take on it?
I feel like when it comes to passion, like, well, for me, being a little, like, Mexican girl from the Valley.
Yeah.
I feel like my passion was to leave the Valley.
Yeah.
And to go to college.
And that's a passion enough.
Yeah. So I wanted to be, like, the first in the family to, like, leave. Where I'm from, it's the Valley. It's, like, down South Texas. Like, nobody in my family ever like left for college, and I was like, I want to be the first.
Yeah.
And that was like a passion of mine, and that required a lot of risk because now I was living in San Antonio, which is 4 hours away from any family I have, and that was a risk in itself.
Right.
But I knew I wanted to do it, and I feel like I needed to do it.
Yeah.
When it's a passion, it doesn't feel like a wanting; it feels like a needing.
It's like a calling.
It's a calling.
Yeah.
So I could not control that. Like my mom and dad were like bribing me. Like if you stay here, we'll buy you a car. We'll buy you the Jeep that you want or whatever.
Get you an apartment or something.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. I had girlfriends who were like, "Oh, we can get an apartment and go to Pan Am. We'll live in Edinburgh." That's like the city where the university is down there. And I was just like, no, like nothing anybody could tell me. Could make me stay there. Nothing. And it's funny how like you see it kind of play out because I'll get to this later with my hustle story about like me going to San Antonio led me to me meeting you. Right. And it's just like
following that passion. Following that gut instinct.
Yeah.
And see, to what I was saying earlier, I think it goes perfectly what you were just saying. You knew leaving the valley and going up to San Antonio to go to school is something you can pull off.
Yeah.
All by yourself.
Yeah.
You knew you had the grades.
Yeah.
You knew you had the animo, the drive to do it. And so you can make it work. So for you, I don't think that you thought it was that risky, really. Or did you?
I feel like it was risky, but something about me is that like I like what does Simba say? Like I laugh in the face of danger. Yeah. Like, that's literally how I live my life. Like I've always been like that. I've always been the one that goes against the grain. Right. Like if everybody's going on this left path, I'm like, ooh, what's over here? Yeah. And I go to the right because I'm not scared. Right. I honestly think it comes from like walking with God and feeling like if God's with me, I'm not really worried. Yeah. You know?
Who can be against you?
Exactly.
Amen.
So I felt like it was a risk. Also safety wise, it's a risk. When any woman lives by herself, you know, I feel like that's kind of like what you grow up thinking, you know, it gets put in your mind, you know, like, oh, well, you're a woman, you live by yourself, they can attack you or whatever. Yeah. But at that point I was like, all right, well, I started doing my own little, like, let me carry my keys in my knuckles. And, you know, I'm from the hood a little bit. So, you know, I had to get a little gangster sometimes. I was raised in the project, so I'll be fine.
The Lori Dark School of Safety. It's like, I got my keys.
Yeah, I have a whole video on like living by yourself as a woman. Yeah. Because I learned a lot of things and I did a lot of things when I lived by myself. So yeah, so that's the risk in it, but I was willing to take it. Yeah. Because like I said earlier, it was more of a needing to do it than a wanting. And that's what I would try to explain to my mom and dad. Like they were so sad to see me leave. And I understand because I'd probably be the same way with our kids when we have our kids. But it's like I'm going to understand like their need. If they really do have a passion for something, you know?
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah.
So, with that being said.
Yeah?
Here's a question for you.
Okay.
So, how can I say no to certain passions? Like, so let me dress it up for you.
Yeah.
So, once I've gotten to the point to where I've tried multiple passions, I'm like, okay, I like this one, I really feel this one, and I have like a few different passions to choose from. How can I get to a point to where I'm like, okay, for sure, I'm not doing this one. For sure, I'm not doing that one. And I'm going to laser in on this one or these 2 or 3 or whatever.
How do you say no? Like, of just not saying no?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, just say no.
But how can you be certain, though? How can you be certain that that's the one you need to say no to?
That feeling you have. Like, for example, in high school, I was literally like, president of every single club you can think of. I was the yearbook editor. I was varsity basketball. Yeah. I remember. Okay, I have a story. Okay. So I had a health teacher because he was the coach for cross country. Your favorite.
I do love CC.
Shout out to Coach Owens. He was awesome. He wanted me to get in cross country. Yeah. And he was my favorite teacher. It was so hard for me to say no to him.
You know what's funny? Real quick. One of my favorite teachers was my cross country coach.
Oh, that's
Coach Cotton.
Yeah.
CC, baby.
Yeah, so he wanted me to get in cross country, and I was just like, I run slow, first of all. Like, I know I was a point guard.
Which is perfect.
But I hated running slow. I mean, I hated
Oh.
running, period.
Okay, that's not perfect.
And I have asthma, so I was telling them, like,
no.
I have asthma. I can't be cross country. But I think they needed.
Yeah.
I think they needed people for
Right.
like certain
UIL requirements.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was so hard for me to say no to, because like I was like, I loved him,
Right.
but I knew I didn't have like room on my plate for another passion.
Yep.
You know, and I was just like, oh, this is so hard.
Yeah.
So I had to say no, and that was really tough because you don't want to disappoint anybody ever.
Right.
And that's what I think it comes down to also, because I was in like all types of like, I was DECA president, senior class secretary, student council president. I don't remember what I was. It was like a lot of things. And you had to pick and choose, because sometimes it'd be like, okay, there's a meeting for yearbook and for DECA and for student council all at the same time.
Yeah.
And I literally be running back and forth. I would be running all over the place, knowing I have a basketball practice like in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So it was like crazy. At the end, you know, basketball was like life. So I had to step down as yearbook editor. I had to step down for like, well, I didn't step down for the other stuff, but I just wasn't as involved, you know? So it's tough when you have a lot of passions.
Yeah.
And when you have to focus on like what is most important to you, but you hold on to that, like what gives you that feeling.
Right.
And that was always basketball for me.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
You know, I feel like there were times where I probably could have been more passionate about different things.
Okay.
You know, I can be accused of being maybe too locked in on the several, and maybe that's good to only have a passion for like a couple of things.
Yeah.
But looking back to like those days, I probably should have been in more stuff just to see.
Yeah.
Just to see like if it actually interests me.
Like your dream of being a golfer?
Like my dream of being a golfer. Whew, I'm working on my golf swing, y'all.
He barely got into golfing like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but I'm on it though. I'm working on it. And it might become a passion.
Oh my gosh.
But I think at one point, first of all, I think you got to try a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Right? I think you should fill up your calendar with a lot of stuff, because that way you're really going to have an opportunity to figure out like, okay, is this for me or not?
Yeah.
But then I think it goes back to your gut. You're going to know like, okay, this one thing over here, the opportunity for me is enormous.
Yeah.
And if I actually follow it and I give it the respect it deserves. That's the thing about a passion.
Yeah.
Once you choose a passion, you need to respect it, because it's going to take discipline to get where you want to go with the passion. And if you're not willing to put in the work and the discipline, then you might as well not even really focus on it like that. Yeah. But once you decided, okay, this one's for me, you need to be all in.
Yeah, and that's what I told my coach too.
Yeah.
When he was walking, because I had him for health, so I would see him every day, and he would look at me like, "Are you gonna join?" And I would tell him like, I don't feel like I have it in me to really focus on that, because I'm so busy.
Right, because you want to respect that thing too.
I don't want to make you look bad if I'm not really disciplined enough to do well.
Yeah.
And then I get like last place, and it makes sense. Like, I don't want to deal with that, because you do know discipline comes with passion. You know, so I totally agree.
There's a time for me, since we're talking about the high school things, activities.
Yeah.
I was in Future Business People of America.
Okay.
Right, and I was vice president.
Yeah.
There's a photo in our yearbook of like, we had our group photo. Everybody came looking great. Suits, dresses, looking super professional.
Yeah.
What'd I show up in?
No.
T-shirt and jeans.
Why?
You know why? Because I just came from track practice. There's really no excuse. I could have had a suit when I think about it. But like, I just came from track practice, but check it out. I was more focused on track.
Yeah.
And that's how we met.
Yeah.
So like, look at the good positives that came out of it. But I was more focused on that than I was doing the other thing. But that was a sign to me, right? I knew right then and there in that photo when I took it, I was like, this is my last day here. I'm going to take the photo and like be cool with everybody, but
you just knew.
I just knew, because there's no way I can respect this the level that they need to respect it on and do the other thing.
And that's the thing, you're going to disappoint people. Like, another thing, I was in... and
you got to be okay with it.
What was it called? Was it BPA? When the typing, the computer...
Are we talking about the same thing?
Is it?
Business Professionals of America, BPA?
Oh, wait, no. Maybe I'm saying that. Well, there was like a class where it was like, maybe it is, where you...
I think they did have typing in there. I was terrible, though.
Okay, well, my point is that I was actually really good at that.
Yeah.
And she wanted me to go to a conference, not a conference, like a competition.
Right.
Because I typed really, really fast. I still type really fast.
Yeah.
And that competition, I think it was in California or something, but it was during a tournament for basketball
tournament.
Yeah. And I barely got my starting position back.
Ouch.
It was so tough because I knew I could kill at that competition.
Yeah.
And I told my coach, I was like, well, there's this competition, like, they really want me to go. And he's like, if you go, you're not going to start. And I don't know if you'll ever start again if you go. Because it's showing me where you already know my coach.
Golly.
Shout out to my coach. We're cool now.
Yeah.
I missed out on that competition. And I remember I disappointed her so much. I felt so bad as the teacher.
Yeah.
Because I remember when they came back from that competition, it was only on the weekend. So it was like a quick little, like, maybe I'd miss a tournament and maybe like a day of practice. And when they came back with my typing score, I would have finished second place in the whole nation with how fast I typed.
Yeah.
And I remember I would throw that in my coach's face all the time. I was just like, first of all, I mean, second place, I would have tried to go for first, of course. But still, that's pretty crazy to think, like that could have been me. And it's just, you're going to disappoint people.
Yeah.
And you're going to feel disappointed.
Right.
Along the way of finding your passion.
But it's all on the journey, right?
It's all on the journey.
And you're still gaining so many more skills that make you valuable. Because
at the end of the day, I learned I wouldn't trade, even though I went through drama my senior year in basketball, and I almost quit.
Right.
But my mom, a couple of my homeboys, they really told me, like, dude, you can't, like, this is your senior year, you can't let it just go out like that. You can't let him win.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And at the end of the year, my coach apologized and, hugged me and cried. You did cry. So, but now we're cool, and honestly, I appreciate everything I went through, even the bad, because it strengthened me, know. So, and it's back to your journey,
Right. What do you think about this though? So, like, we're talking about finding multiple passions and saying no to stuff, but what do you think about the idea that when you do have multiple passions, you're making yourself more valuable? Yeah.
Totally.
Right?
I feel like if you're good at a lot of things, there's nothing wrong with being good at a lot of things, but when I say, like, jack of all trades, master of none, I'm talking about, like, you're, like, when people are, like, so, like, when you ever met those people that think they say they're good at every single thing, and it's, like, almost an arrogant way,
right?
But you're like, but what are you the master of? Like, you're good at a lot of things, but are you great at a couple of things?
Yeah,
probably not. I feel like when you're a jack of all trades, it's like when you're, like, bragging about being good at, like, 10 or more things. That you're, like, constantly trying to, like, to belittle people.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, yeah, I'm good at that. But if you're not great at some things,
what's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're great at, like, 3 or 4 things, like, stick with it. Because you never know also how they can cross-reference.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, being good at, like, I'm good at graphic design. It ends up being great for my branding business.
Right.
You know, I'm good at typography. It ends up going to be good for my branding business. You know what I'm saying? So you never know how your passions can cross.
Yeah.
You know, so what do you think?
I agree. Yeah.
Cool.
I think that it never hurts to make yourself more valuable because no one knows exactly where their life is headed.
Yeah.
You have a plan, you have goals, and you try to adhere to them, but things come up. And it's not going to hurt you if you're also good at X, Y, and Z if your main thing is this. Right?
Totally.
So just make yourself more valuable. Like, that's the good thing of having passion. It's kind of the good thing of being kind of like in the passion loop, if you will, with multiple passions. Just for the moment, it's like while you're trying things out, number one, you might realize like what you're actually good at, but you might gain skills in other things that you never knew you even needed. So it can pay off dividends later. It may not be today, but eventually it's going to pay off and be like, okay, that was cool.
And you also never know what you can be good at.
Right.
Like, a lot of times you think, like, oh, I could never do that. Like, you with your sales.
Yeah.
Like, he was totally against, like, cold calling. He was like...
Absolutely.
Like, I remember my family thought he was mute for a little bit because he never spoke.
Yeah.
He was very... It takes Darryl a little while to, like, warm up to you. So, cold calling, I knew, I was like, oh, this job is going to be tough. So, I knew at that point I had to, like, put my, like, strength hat on and be like, I got to be strong for Darryl. Yeah. I got to help him. Yeah. And it was tough, man, because you were so stubborn during, like, the very beginning. You're like, and I'm like, dude, like, stay with it, please. So it was tough, but you just never know what you can be good at. So I definitely think when it comes to finding your passion, just be patient with yourself and really, like Darryl said, really be honest and genuine with trying the passion. Don't fake it, because if you fake it, it's not gonna happen. Yeah. You know?
So when we come back, we have more hustle stories.
Hustle stories.
It's coming up, and they're all about passion and knowing if you're going the right direction. More when we come back. You're watching, and you're listening to The Brandon Hustle.
Hey guys, it's Lori. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at The Branded Hustle and also follow Darryl on LinkedIn at Darryl Darks. This is The Branded Hustle. All right, guys, welcome back to The Branded Hustle.
Yes.
So now is my favorite part of our little podcast.
Yes.
That is Hustle Stories. So today we are going to talk about how we found our passion
Yes.
in our hustle story.
Yes.
So let me get started with mine.
Okay.
As we talked earlier, basketball was my life. Right. So I transitioned not playing basketball into sports writing in college.
Right.
So when there came a time when I knew that was kind of like in the back burner with my sports writing, I feel like once I covered the NCAA championship and I met like
everybody.
Oh gosh.
Name drop real quick.
No, I'm not gonna name.
Go ahead and name drop on them.
It wasn't that crazy. It was
Dick Vitale.
Okay. I met Roy Williams.
Yes.
UNC coach, which is my favorite.
Right.
I'm a huge Tar Heel fan. He's a Duke fan. I don't even know how we ended up together. But I met Andy Katz.
Yes. Who loved you, by the way.
Yeah, actually, I was this close to doing like an ESPN internship.
How so?
But I didn't. My passion was kind of like dwindling. It's crazy because like even covering the ESPN, like covering the basketball player of the year. I forgot which, like, it was a luncheon that I met, like, that was actually pretty cool. I will say that story real fast. It was like a luncheon for the NCAA player of the year, which was Tyler Hansbrough that year from UNC. I met Oscar Robertson. That was really cool. He loved me because I was like a girl there, and he was like, okay, I see you.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember walking in there, and my seat was literally in like a table full of like older white men, right? And they saw this little like brown girl come in, like a little Mexican chick, and we're like, "Oh, you're so cute.
Yeah.
What do you know about basketball?" Type thing, right? And to me, like when it comes to that kind of stuff, I never let my feelings of anger, if it is racism or whatever, I never let that like show. Like I more so look at it like a challenge. You know how I feel about this.
Yep.
If I feel like you're going to be racial, I'm going to make you love me. I'm going to impress you, and I'm going to make you love me. That's always how I look at life. And I think it's a really good way to look at life instead of getting angry and like cursing and like, you know.
Yep.
So I sat down there, and I was like, ooh, I'm about to like blow their minds.
Yeah.
I ended up like impressing them so much that they were all like hugging me at the end of the luncheon. They were all excited. Like, oh, she's going to be great. Like they all like loved me. And it was just like, it was awesome, you know, because I feel like when you really want to impress somebody, you like when you want for somebody to be impressed with you, you just put your best face forward, you know? And that was really cool. But that's not what my hustle story is. I just felt like that was really cool. Yeah. But I also knew at that point, like, it was fun, but I was starting to take my higher up classes in PR and marketing. Yeah. And my passion, it's kind of how you said earlier in the podcast. It comes out of nowhere, your passion. It just hits you. And I was a little sad because I'm literally in like a monumental moment in my sports writing career. Yeah. Right? Where I could really go to the next level. I met a girl, I forgot her name. I think her name was Martha or Maria. I can't remember. But she was a Hispanic lady that wrote for USA Today in Chicago. Yeah. She covered Michael Jordan's career, all of her career. Yeah. And when I met her, she started looking at me like, "Oh my gosh, like I can be your mentor."
It's like a younger version of me.
Exactly.
What she saw in you.
Exactly. Yeah. And she really liked me, and I really liked her too. We emailed a little bit after that. You know, she gave me her card and stuff, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, she covered Michael Jordan's career. Like she's met Michael Jordan." It was crazy to me, you know. Right. But I just happened to be like on the like going out of basketball for some reason. I just felt a tug into like PR and marketing. Right. So I started doing PR work for like, my friend had like an indie label or whatever. So I would do PR work for him and for the label. So at that point I had to choose between passions because I was, my schedule back then, working full time, taking 16 hours of college, doing sports writing and doing PR and doing like other PR stuff for college, like thesis and stuff like that or whatever, right? It was crazy. It was insane. So I had to pick and choose what I wanted to do. I started to go towards more of my marketing and my PR, right? Yeah. So by me doing that, it ended up leading me to you because I started focusing more on my PR. The friend who I met doing music, doing the PR stuff, he knew you.
Yeah.
So it's almost like he kind of introduced us in a way, because when you came to the apartment that day, if
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had that like talking piece, I don't know if that would have been like a connection enough for us to like keep talking.
I agree.
You know? So it's just like following your passion is going to find you another passion.
Correcto
which is
mundo.
my husband, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was really hard for me to let go of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still love basketball. We still watch it. And, you know, I have my moments where I'm like, oh, I would kick butt being a commentator.
Yeah.
And I sometimes, we have this conversation. I think
it
like,
might happen in the future in some capacity.
Yeah. I sometimes think like, man, what would my life be if I would have stayed with that? But I wouldn't have you.
Yeah.
If I would have gone to that ESPN internship, would I just have stayed in Connecticut? You know what I'm saying? Like, what would have happened? So that just comes down to like following your passion and really feeling your gut. Like my gut told me like it's over. Like something else is out there. And that's when I started doing PR, and that's when I met you. So what about your like
that's how it happens. Yeah. See, mine it's kind of like yours.
Yeah.
It's very roundabout.
Roundabout.
Very roundabout. So let's take it back for a second to where I was like a high school senior, college freshman, and I love music. Still love music, by the way. I love to play piano, but that was like it for me back then. So much so to where before I started studying music in college, because I was like a late bloomer music wise. Like I didn't grow up playing instruments, but I started in high school, like late in high school.
Yeah.
So before I started studying music officially in college, I was taking piano lessons.
Yeah.
And I was so passionate about it. I had a little bit of savings. I'm talking about a little bit of savings. As a college freshman, and I literally used like most of my savings to take piano lessons. So when I had a bike, I didn't have a car. I got on my bike and I rode my bike 10 miles, like all together, there and back between my dorm room and my piano teacher's house in San Antonio, because I was so bad. I just want to learn piano so badly and grow and get better as a pianist.
And he's very talented, by the way, guys.
Thank you very much.
He really is.
So I was doing that, and I was so dedicated and so into it. And then I do that for a while. I take lessons. I start studying music in school, and then I leave San Antonio. But then people know me for playing piano on the campus at UTSA in that time period. If they know me, they know that I do that. And so I leave. I come back to Austin. I'm like, I'm going back to San Antonio. And then literally when we met, just like you said, we had a mutual friend that knew me from playing piano, and she was doing PR for the indie label, and it just connected. So it's like, and then, it's all history from there. So my point is that you may have a passion for one thing hard for a certain time in your life. And then right now, like I don't do music. I do sales. I do business. Right. I still love music. I play it, but I don't like do it professionally. But my point is that there was a time where I said, you know what, I got to like focus on like sales and business and all of that, and put music away. So that kind of dwindled a little bit, but it wasn't a waste though, because it led me to you.
Aww.
Yeah.
Tear.
Yeah. So my
That's
point.
very true.
Right. So
because when I asked our mutual friend, like when I was also songwriting aside from PR, I was doing songwriting. I said I want to write a song with a piano player. Yeah. And I was like really like throwing a hissy fit. I was like little girl from Willy Wonka, because he would play me his beats and stuff, and I'm like, ugh, like no diss to you, but I don't want that. Yeah. I'm like, I want a piano player, and he's like, okay, chill, like I got a person. His name is Darryl Darks, and I'm like, oh, I don't know who he is. Introduce me. He's like, all right, but it just so happened that like, because he saw you playing the piano. Yeah. It's just like, it's really beautiful. Like, it's really beautiful when you see life come together. Yeah. And that's why, be patient. Yeah. Like, you never know what's happening in your life. When you really think of stuff like this, you're just like, whoa. Like, you're almost mind blown of like, that's what was happening. Because you might not understand it when it's happening, but later on, you'll get it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So, passions. Yeah. Right? This is a great episode.
I know. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But before we go, we need the book of the week.
Oh, my gosh.
What is the book of the week?
We absolutely do. Yeah. Okay, this is perfect. Yeah. You guys ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready. All right. So, here's the book of the week. So, this is perfect for people that are trying to pick their passion right now. Okay. The people that are like, okay, do I go left? Do I go right? What is up?
Especially during right now.
Especially.
Right now is the perfect time for self-reflection.
Yes.
If you're watching this during like the 2020 quarantine era.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I have a book for you. It's by Gary Keller, which, side note, before I tell you which book it is by Gary Keller, if you haven't read any of the Keller books, Keller Real Estate, that's Gary Keller.
Yeah.
If you haven't read them, you need to read them. He has a lot of great books. Him and Jay Papasan, Jay Papasan, they have a lot of great books of like business in general. But this one is called The One Thing. So it's really about this. It's like if you have this big goal, right? You're trying to accomplish this one thing. Usually there's like 20 different ways you can find your way to the goal, right?
Yeah.
But what if you just chose one way to do it? Or if there's a bunch of things you can do in your life that you have a goal with or whatever it is, what if you just chose one? One thing. So what it's going to do for somebody who's choosing right now, like, I have multiple passions, what do I do? It's going to force you to choose what is that one thing that really makes the most sense for me and the trajectory I'm trying to be on.
Wow.
So
that sounds like a great book.
It's awesome. It's really good. It's called The One Thing by Gary Keller. And if you're trying to find your passion, you're even trying to just find direction in general, it's a great book to help you isolate what's really important and attack the thing that's going to help you out the most.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely have that link down below so you guys can go check that out.
Yes.
Sounds like a great book.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. So that's all for this episode.
It's been another great episode, by the way.
Yeah. Super exciting.
Yeah.
I love this. I love doing this podcast, guys. I hope you guys enjoy it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out there, find your passions, find out what is really going to be for you. Trust your gut. You will know when that passion is the right one for you. You're just going to feel it, and you won't need to second guess it. You won't need to look back and wonder what if, because you already did the work up front to know whether or not it's for you.
It'll just make sense.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
It will make sense. It won't feel forced.
No.
That's one thing that I feel like when it comes to passion, it doesn't feel forced. It just flows.
Yeah.
You know?
You're at peace with it.
Yeah.
Seek that peace.
Yeah. I love that. All right. Well, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and anywhere that they have podcasts.
Yep.
Also,
if you have any thoughts or questions or ideas for future podcasts, always comment below.
Yeah, for sure. And also leave us your hustle story.
Yes.
About your passion and where it led you. And if you have any stories like what we mentioned about how it led us to each other.
Yep.
Or just anything in general like that, we would love to hear your hustle story. And don't forget to follow this young man on LinkedIn.
Howdy.
Yeah. Darryl Darks is his LinkedIn.
Yes.
And that's all we have for you.
Cool.
So
we appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Can't wait to make more episodes for you.
Yeah. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.
Peace out.